Welcome back. Now we've just created a delegate called fHighlightIconDelegate. And this is going to broadcast information to the widget blueprint when we want to play our icon highlight animation. Now at any given point in time, one of our slots may or may not be highlighted, and so we're going to need an integer to keep track of which slot is highlighted at any given point in time. So I'm going to create an int32 called highlightedSlot. Now I'm going to make this uProperty, and we'll make this visible anywhere, and blueprint read only, and I'll give this the category of inventory and give it the meta allow private access true specifier. And for the comment, we'll just say the index for the currently highlighted slot. Now we're going to give this a default value, and by default I'm going to set it to -1, and we'll use that to indicate that there is no highlighted slot at the time. So we'll say highlighted slot -1. I'll go ahead and comment this and say icon animation properties. Well, property, since there's just one here. Now let's go ahead and create a function for when we want to highlight an inventory slot. So I'm going to go up to our protected section and create a function. And this is going to be void, and I'll call it highlight inventory slot. Now we can go ahead and define this. Now first I'm going to get the empty inventory slot. So I'm going to create a const int32 and call this empty slot. And I'm going to initialize it with get empty inventory slot. So now we'll have a local variable for the empty inventory slot, and we're going to use our delegate to broadcast that information to the blueprint. So we're going to say highlight icon delegate dot broadcast. And for broadcast, because this is a dynamic delegate to params, we need to pass in an int32 for the slot. That's going to be the empty slot. And then we want to pass a Boolean, which will be whether or not we should play the animation. So since we're trying to highlight the inventory slot, we're going to pass in true. Now, since we're keeping track of which slot is highlighted at any given point in time, since we're highlighting the inventory slot, we're going to set the highlighted slot equal to this empty slot. And it looks like I have a typo here. There's an extra T. So once I take that out, I'll get rid of that error. Now we have a function to broadcast the delegate so that we can highlight the inventory slot. Let's also create a function to unhighlight an inventory slot. So we're going to go back and create another function in the protected section called unhighlight inventory slot. So I'm just going to put un and copy and paste highlight inventory slot. So now we have unhighlight inventory slot, and I'm going to go ahead and create a function body for this. And this one is going to also broadcast using our delegate. So we're going to say highlight icon delegate dot broadcast. And for this one, we're going to use our highlighted slot. And instead of true, we're going to pass in false. And then we can simply set our highlighted slot equal to -1, since -1 means that there is no slot being highlighted currently. Okay, so that will conclude this video. We now have two functions we can call which will broadcast our delegate so that once we assign an event to that delegate in our widget blueprint, it will receive the correct information for which slot to play the animation for and a Boolean for whether or not the animation should be played or stopped. We'll continue with this in the next video when we decide when we should call these functions. We'll see you then.